All right, and welcome back to the Huddle here on Fox Sports 1700, brought to you by Christina Salas, State Farm Insurance in McAllen, Miracle Medical in Westlaco, home of the Don Joy Brace, all major insurances accepted, and also McDonald's from across the Rio Grande Valley. Carlos Robledo along with Jake Berry, and we do have plenty of teams that are moving on to the next round of the playoffs. Westlaco East is moving on. We got Harlingen High moving on, McAllen Memorial. West Local High School, Edinburgh, Robert Vela was a winner over Brownsville Porter. Mission Veterans is moving on. Ed Cauchelsa, Sherryland. And we still have a couple of more games. La Jolla Palmview is taking on Del Rio at Del Rio, 2 o'clock. Laredo Alexander is playing at Mac High. So still 2 more games here in the bi-district rounds of the playoffs. And also La Feria. La Feria was a big winner over Beeville Jones, 67-31. So, Jake, we got a couple of changes. We have some changes that have already taken place as far as coaching is concerned, and usually it happens at this time of the year. Coaches don't win, and unfortunately they have to be let go.
Yeah, two kind of surprising ones. George Espinosa at La Jolla, they didn't make the playoffs this year. They made it last year. They lost to a very hot Waters Lincoln team the last week of the season. He was reassigned. And last night, actually, Joaquin Jake Escobar at Edinburgh actually got reassigned. And, I started to write something last night because if you've never been in the coaching profession or you're a lot of people just think, okay, he's going to get fired. He'll find another job. But, it's actually a really weird time when you're a coach. And I'm not coaching anymore, but I'm still teaching. It's a weird experience. So it's almost like a divorce. The coaches actually
You're there at the house.
Yeah, and the coaches actually don't get to see the kids. So it's not. They get a restraining order, basically. Not really, but they're not allowed to really say goodbye to their team. Which it almost becomes a little.
So this happened last night.
It happened last night for Escobar. George Espinosa, I think, was resigned midweek.
Right.
So, but Paul Ray is now Espinosa and Escobar. I mean, those are 3, and usually, when you see 3, there's probably going to be 2, 3 more after that. And, and it's a weird experience. I mean, because I think a lot of people think that coaches they're going to rebound from this. And a lot of the times, coaches, you're a head coach, you don't find that head coaching job for years afterwards. And it's a hard adjustment. It's called the ratchet in economics, where basically you get accustomed to making that money, and then you go back to maybe an offensive coordinator position, and that's a difficult thing. I'm not just talking about the money, but it's weird when you're around that situation, because when you get rid of the head coach, that means the OC and the DC usually leave too.
Sometimes it's the whole coaching staff.
Yeah, and so.
But I think it's harder on the head coach because the salaries are pretty high. I mean, they range, I think, from what
90 some. You're going to get 70 some to 90.
70 to 100.
Yeah,
here in the valley.
Yeah, and so, it's very hard. But when you're in that situation, I remember going to the coaches' locker room, and you see coaches, they don't know if they're gone or not. And I remember I've been through when Coach Vela died at Edinburgh. His staff pretty much stayed there, but then a lot of them retired after that because they were some of them were older. Some of them went on to like Lyford. And then when Coach Gashes got reassigned, it was very, very weird because you're around there and you see all these guys and you know that they know that they're gone.
Mm-hmm.
But they're trying to stick around. They're trying to do their best to, put that good face forward.
Absolutely.
And it's almost like dead man walking,
Well, it's like at any business, to be quite honest with you.
Yeah, I was at Gateway during downsizing, when the tech bubble went underneath, and there's his phone jamming.
I'm not sure who's calling.
But my probation officer probably. No, I mean, I was at Gateway when, we downsized like 500 a week, I think, for a while, and it was crazy, and it's a little weird. I mean, best of luck to those coaches because, you do it for the right reasons. You get out there, you're trying to teach kids. People think that the money is the deciding factor, but it's not really. It's your desire to actually, win and teach kids, how to be good athletes.
Absolutely. And so it is going to be tough, and who knows of any other coaches will be, in and out. We know that moving on to the next round of the playoffs will be Coach Ron Adame, and winners last night against Mercedes, and it was the Adame Bowl, I guess is what we're calling it, Coach, 45-35. I know it was a good victory for you guys, but also tough because you're playing against your cousin and you had to beat a family member last night.
Well, I mean, it was. This is the first time that we've met as head coaches, and it was a tough game. It was a physical game, and we're just, we feel so fortunate and blessed that we were able to come out on top.
Yeah, I know, and I can kind of relate to that. Both my brothers, also former Tigers, Rob and Ron, had to play against each other back in the in the 90s. They were just assistant coaches. Rob was at Mercedes and Ron was at Weslaco. They play against each other, and they were just both an emotional wreck before and after the game. So it is kind of tough on the family there.
Yeah, it is. But I think both of us understand that. It's our profession, and matchups or games like this, sometimes we may not have very much control over, and I just have a feeling that it's not going to be the last time we play Mercedes. So just got to make the most out of it, and during the game we're opponents, and we're wanting to what's best for our kids. But at the end of it, hey, we're still family.
Absolutely, Coach. What is the quarterback situation there, Coach? Because I know that Seth Carter was your go-to guy there, and kind of the last time I in following your all's team, but you kind of moved him around a little bit. Is that correct?
Well, yeah, Manny Campos has started the last 4 games for us. Right after the Roma game, as a coaching staff, we decided, look, give Manny a start. In fairness to him, he really hadn't started a game. He'd come in the middle of it, and we just seemed to be clicking a little bit better. And of course, Seth is a weapon that we use at different positions, but it's mainly at slot. And it just we just seem to be clicking at the right time. Manny seems to be getting more and more comfortable in the pocket. Just seeing the field, he's got great vision and recognizing receivers and pockets that are open within the pass defense.
All right, Coach. So you're moving on now. You're going to play Cal Allen. Do we have any particulars on that game yet?
Yes, we do. We just finished making arrangements. We're going to be playing at A&M Kingsville Friday night at 7:30.
All right.
So we went home neutral. We were gonna, if we won, we would have played at PSJ Stadium Friday night, but unfortunately we didn't win that flip, and we'll be going to Kingsville Friday night.
And Cal Allen's a team. I got a chance to see them play earlier this year. They like to run the spread, but they could also line up and run the ball right at you as well. Is that correct?
Yes, they can do both. It just all depending on what they feel they're going to be more successful at. They can play smash mouth football, old wing T, West Texas football, or they can run the spread. And defensively, they're not going to stunt very much. They're very sound. Defensively, they're very sound, very, very similar to like what Ed Couch-Elsa does. Those kids know that defense and they run it well.
Big play right here. Tack on an extra 15 yards for a horse collar. And the Chargers are in business. Castillo running with a football inside the 25-yard line. Here they are passing to the 5-yard line. 28 seconds left in the game. Castillo with the ball here. He finds the end zone, touchdown. 21-20, West Lacuis with the lead. And the Chargers don't hesitate at all. They're going for 2. Here's the play right here. Quarterback Castillo sets up. Then he moves out, and they run a...
kind of oohs and ahs them, and we found ways to make plays. I know Manny had a couple of plays where they had him in the backfield, but he managed to escape and find the open receiver downfield, and we just we feel blessed that we were able to win last night.
Now, coaching-wise, that almost seemed like it was for you guys, it was almost you called a perfect game. I mean, as far as your play calling, it seemed like, and I know Manny did break a couple of those arm tackles, but you had some of the right plays because they were blitzing off the sides all night.
Right, they were coming off the edge. They were screaming off the edge, and we knew that one of the ways to slow them down was to run our hard count, and that did work a couple of times, and then just trying to fill those voids where they were blitzing. That right behind that outside linebacker, there was little pockets that we were looking for, and we knew the big key was just giving our quarterback enough time with our pass protection and making sure that he was hitching up inside the pocket underneath all that pressure that was coming from the outside. But they did sack us. We did have a couple of of plays with negative yardage, and a big part of that, was our receivers not seeing the blitz and giving their eyes to the quarterback. But those are things that we're working on fixing for next week.
And you guys passed the ball extremely well, because we were calling the game last night. It was really nice because Fox Southwest was doing live look-ins. But you guys were passing the ball extremely well. I mean, it seemed like you were always finding that hole in the zone, or when their safety would come up. I think on one of your first
Right.
throws, the safety had come up, and you were able to. I think Carter was the one that filled that void right over the middle, and
Right.
you guys just seemed to throw the ball correctly each and every time it was available.
Again, like I go back to Manny, and just he's seeing the field well right now, and our receivers are doing a good job of finding those pockets, finding those windows. Sometimes you can't get too you got to listen to the kids, and I ask each one of them what's the best play in football, and each one of them, one young man, Blake Klein, asked me, Coach, is that a yes, or is there a right answer to that? I said, no, I want your opinion. What's the best play in football? So he gives me what he thinks is his best play, and you run that. You find out, hey, you know what? This young man feels comfortable with that play. Run it in the game. Let them find them windows. So, sometimes you can't get too overcritical with what's being run on game night, but more what the kids are familiar with, what they feel comfortable with.
Wildcats start running to the left-hand side, then back to the right-hand side. They throw it to Castillo, but the defense is there. Watch Rojas come up and make a big play. Also into the play there is Jesus Infante knocking the ball loose, and the Wildcats win it, stopping the two-point conversion, 21-20.
Yeah, baby!
Were you surprised at all if they went for two, Coach?
No. That guy's a great coach. He's got great players. He trusted them. It was a great call on his part, and if he catches it, he looks like a genius, and we're done. But now that they drop it, we look like maybe a genius, maybe not, but we're going on.
No, we knew they were going to get out to try and go for two, so we told our kids right before we get out there, look, they're going to drive, we got to stop them. If they end up scoring, we got to stop them because they're going to go for two. So we lined up and played the best that we could, and turned out to be all right.
No, there was never a doubt what we were going to do. We came here to win this football game. We felt like we had a great opportunity to do it right there.
This is how you start off playoff football. Brownsville Vets at Weslaco East for a by-district championship. First quarter action, and it's the Wildcats. Emilio Tames with the first big play of the game. This one down the sideline and stopped at the 30-yard line. Then more Tames. Emilio stretches it out just short to the 1-yard line. 2 plays later, over the top, he just.
But I think they're beatable. Had a chance to see them play earlier this year, and I think Shareland matches up very, very well against them.
Yeah, they run a lot. They look a lot like Mercedes. It seemed like Mercedes didn't pass as much as they did last year. This year, I mean, you got to see all their games.
Because they had Presas.
Yeah, and
last year, and he's more of a throwing quarterback first.
Yeah, and he wasn't going to run very far, but but he was good for a runner too. But it's okay, I can say that. I was 260, a year ago, so
you're still slow, Jake.
Yes, I'm still slow, but I'm also aged well, No, but last night they didn't pass very much. They did a lot of runs, not a lot of bubble screens. I kind of expected not a lot of downfield passing last night from Mercedes.
Right. Well, and I think what they do is they take what the defense gives them, so to speak. And so when Gomez can come out, he's a dual threat quarterback. And then they got 2 great running backs.
Yeah,
back
Bello
there
ran extremely well last night. Ledesma had some good runs, but hard-fought runs were done by Vela.
Yeah, and that's what you see from Vela. After last year he had that injury, broke his ankle and stuff, but he's come back this year, and it's just been the way he was. That's the way he was, coming into as a sophomore, and then as his junior year, just a hard-nosed runner, stiff arm. I don't know if you've seen some of these highlights of this kid. He dragged a kid the previous week from Porter 5 yards into the end zone. They grabbed his jersey at the 5, and he dragged him into the end zone. It was a crazy highlight, but that's the type of player he is, hard-nosed type of player. So his career ends, and so it'll be interesting to see who will be moving on. It'll be interesting to see who's going to win. All the accolades come up now.
Yeah.
All the postseason awards. So it'll be. I want to see who's going to be the MVP and all that. Amani Bowen, of course, is going to win some awards, and so is Edward Doherty. Coach Leal is going to be Coach of the Year in 32-5A there in Donna. But let's go ahead and take a break right now. We got more. Trying to get in touch with Coach Marty Chalada, see if we can talk to him on the phone, and we'll go from there here on the Huddle, Fox Sports 1700. We'll be right back.